When you think of Greek heroes, a few big names probably come to mind. Heracles, Perseus, Achilles. You know, the mythology superstars. Their stories are everywhere. Books, movies, games, you name it. Heracles literally wrestled death itself and ended up with a permanent residence on Mount Olympus. Not bad for a mortal. But Greek mythology is much bigger than its greatest hits. Hidden in the shadows of those famous legends are other heroes. Heroes who wounded gods. Heroes who rode flying horses. Heroes who even defeated death itself. And somehow, their stories were forgotten. Today, we're bringing them back. These are the forgotten heroes of Olympus. Diomedes, the man who made gods bleed. Our first hero did something almost unthinkable. During the Trojan War, he wounded 2 Olympian gods in a single day. His name was Diomedes, Prince of Argos. If you've read Homer's Iliad, you might remember that the story mostly revolves around Achilles. But when Achilles decided to sit out the war because of an argument, Diomedes stepped up. For a brief moment, he became the most dangerous warrior on the battlefield. His patron goddess Athena gave him a special ability. He could see the gods fighting among the mortals. But she also gave him one important rule: do not attack the gods. Unless it's Aphrodite. Yes, the goddess of love was apparently fair game. When the Trojan hero Aeneas charged at him, Diomedes struck him down with a massive rock. As Aphrodite rushed in to rescue her son, Diomedes lunged forward and drove his spear straight through her wrist. The goddess of love screamed and fled the battlefield back to Olympus. But Diomedes wasn't finished yet. Later that same day, he faced Ares, the god of war himself. This time, Athena personally guided his spear. The weapon struck Ares in the abdomen. The god of war roared so loudly that Homer says it sounded like 10,000 men shouting at once. And then, Ares ran away. So why isn't Diomedes as famous as Heracles? Because his story doesn't end with glory. After the war, his wife betrayed him. Some myths say it was Aphrodite's revenge. Diomedes was forced into exile and eventually settled in Italy. He didn't ride a golden chariot to Olympus. But after his death, people in both Greece and Italy worshipped him as a god. A hero remembered not for a perfect ending, but for the unbelievable moment he made the gods bleed. Bellerophon, the hero who flew too high. If Diomedes represents bravery, Bellerophon represents something else entirely. Hubris, the most dangerous sin in Greek mythology. Bellerophon was a prince of Corinth, and possibly the son of Poseidon. After accidentally killing a man, he was forced into exile and sent on what was meant to be a suicide mission. His task? Kill the Chimera, a monster with a lion's head, a goat's body, and a snake for a tail. Oh, and it breathed fire. Not exactly a fair fight. But Bellerophon had help. The goddess Athena appeared to him in a dream and gave him a golden bridle. With it, he was able to tame the legendary winged horse Pegasus. Now the fight was a little more balanced. Flying high above the Chimera, Bellerophon came up with a clever plan. He attached a block of lead to the tip of his spear. Then he dove straight toward the monster and thrust the spear into its fiery throat. The Chimera breathed fire. The fire melted the lead, and the molten metal poured down its throat. The monster suffocated from the inside. Problem solved. After that victory, Bellerophon became a legend. But success can be dangerous. Eventually, he began to believe something very bold. that he deserved a place among the gods. So he did what any reasonable person would do. He climbed onto Pegasus and tried to fly to Mount Olympus. Zeus was not impressed. The king of the gods sent a tiny gadfly to sting Pegasus. The horse bucked violently. Bellerophon fell from the sky. He survived, but he was left blind, crippled, and alone, wandering the earth for the rest of his life. Bellerophon is remembered not as a triumphant hero, but as a warning. In Greek mythology, defeating monsters is impressive, but challenging the gods themselves? That rarely ends well. Ino and Palaemon, the tragic sea gods. Not every path to immortality comes through victory. Sometimes it comes through tragedy. The story of Ino and her son Melicertes is one of the darkest in Greek mythology. Ino was the aunt of Dionysus, the god of wine. After Dionysus's mother died, Ino helped raise him in secret. Unfortunately, this made Hera extremely angry. And when Hera is angry, things tend to go very badly. She drove Ino's husband, King Athamas, into madness. In his delusion, he believed his own son was a wild animal, and he hunted him down. Terrified, Ino fled with her other son, Melicertes. What happened next varies depending on the myth. In one version, she jumps from a cliff into the sea while holding her child. In another, the madness reaches her too, and the story becomes even darker. But either way, the ending should have been tragic. Instead, something unexpected happened. A god, possibly Zeus or Dionysus, took pity on them. As they fell into the sea, their mortal forms changed. Ino became Leucothea, the white goddess, a spirit who helps sailors in danger. Her son Melicertes became Palaemon, a protector of ships, often shown riding a dolphin. Together, the grieving mother and child became guardians of the sea. Their story wasn't about triumph. It was about survival. And sometimes, that is its own kind of immortality. Asclepius, the doctor who defeated death. Our final hero might actually be the most influential of them all, because his symbol still exists today. You can find it on hospitals and medical organizations around the world. His name was Asclepius, the son of the god Apollo and a mortal princess named Coronis. When Coronis betrayed Apollo, she was killed. But before her funeral pyre burned, Apollo rescued their unborn child. Yes, Greek mythology may have accidentally invented the first C-section. Apollo gave the child to the wise centaur Chiron, who taught him the art of medicine, and Asclepius became incredibly skilled. He could cure diseases, heal terrible wounds, and eventually, he learned how to bring the dead back to life. This was a problem, because resurrecting people disrupts the natural balance of the universe. Even Hades started complaining. Apparently, the underworld was losing customers. So Zeus made a decision. He struck Asclepius down with a thunderbolt. But the story doesn't end there. Apollo, furious and heartbroken, demanded justice. Zeus eventually relented. He brought Asclepius back to life, granted him immortality, and gave him a place among the gods as the god of medicine. His symbol, the rod of Asclepius, a staff with a single serpent, remains the universal sign of healing even today. The road to immortality in Greek mythology was never simple. For every hero like Heracles who reached Olympus through glory, there were others who arrived in very different ways. A warrior who wounded the gods, a hero destroyed by his own pride, a mother transformed by tragedy, and a doctor who dared to defeat death itself. Diomedes, Bellerophon, Ino, Asclepius, the forgotten heroes of Olympus. Their names may not always appear in the most famous myths, but their stories remind us that greatness in Greek mythology came in many forms, sometimes through strength, sometimes through suffering, and sometimes through wisdom. So which of these heroes is the most underrated? Are there other forgotten figures you'd like us to explore? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy uncovering hidden myths, consider subscribing. There are still many legends waiting to be rediscovered.